Hi, my name is Merlen Jaramillo, and for my final project, I am going to talk about the resistance training. As an introduction, I must say that muscle strengthening activities that involve the major muscle groups are recognized as an essential component of an overall fitness program for adults as well as children. To understand all the resistance training principles and the phases, we need to know some words, some terminology, and we are going to begin with the word atrophy, that it refers to the fiber mass that is lost when you don't do any exercise. Then we have the word concentric, that refers that the action of when the muscle shortens is like the phase when the muscle shortens. And then we have the eccentric word, that means that the muscle lengthens, that's a muscle action. Then we have the word hypertrophy, that means that when you do exercise, the muscle fiber mass gets bigger, that is hypertrophy. Then we have the muscular strength, that refers to the capacity or ability of a muscle to do something. Then we have the muscular endurance, that is the ability of a muscle that can do the same activity in several repetitions or for a longer time. Then we have the word repetition, that means a complete exercise. I mean, for example, when I do the bicep curl, this phase and this phase is a complete repetition. Then we have the terminology of the repetition maximum, that is referring that the maximum weight that we can lift for a determined number of repetitions. It can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 5, 6. That is also named as RM. Then we have the word set, that refers to a number of repetitions done. For example, a set of 8 repetitions, a set of 10 repetitions. And then we have the word spotter, that means a helper or an accompany or a person that can help us when we cannot do a complete exercise, or that is checking our technique when we are working out. I'm going to talk about the health and fitness benefits of the resistance training. One of them is that we get stronger muscles, increased capacity for force production. Then we can notice favorable changes in body composition. I mean, more muscle mass and less fat mass. Then we have a better metabolic health and a better quality of life. It increases lean muscle mass. It means the mass that we have has less fat than before. It reduces body fat. It fortifies the bone. When we put an stress on the muscles, it gets bones get stronger. Then it lowers the blood pressure. The resistance training also improves blood lipid and cholesterol levels. Then we can have the benefit that it enhances the body ability to use the glucose, because we use this glucose in the resistance training directly. Other benefits we can find with the resistance training is the increases of bone mineral density, that it stimulates the new bone formation, that it avoids the age-related losses of bone mass, and it gives us stronger muscles that are shock absorbers and balancing agents. Now I'm going to talk about the fundamental principles of resistance training. I am going to begin with the first one, that is the progress overload. It says that you must exercise at a level beyond the point to which your muscles are accustomed. You have to stress the muscle to get a positive response. The word progression refers to consistently boost the training stimulus or load. You can do this in a variety of ways. The number one is to increase the number of repetitions. The recommended repetitions for muscular fitness is from 8 to 10 repetitions. For older adults, 10 to 15 repetitions is recommended. Then for people focusing on strength, fewer repetitions, for example 6 to 8. Then those focusing on endurance, they must do up to 15 to 25 repetitions with less weight. This principle also says that you have to increase the number of sets for a given muscle group, or it is another option to increase or to progress the overload. You can increase the resistance. I am talking about the weight you put in every exercise. You can select one of the preceding. Or you choose to increase the number of repetitions, or you increase the number of sets, or you increase the resistance, but you cannot do all of them at the same time. You have to choose. Why? Because you don't want to get injured, okay? Every training session does not have to be more intense than the last session. It needs to be increased gradually over time to realize gains, muscle gains. Another principle is that regularity. The regularity says that exercise must be performed several times per week to enhance physical fitness, and the phrase use it or lose it is true, because if you stop exercising, you are going to lose your abilities, your capacity, and you are going to lose your muscle mass. This principle says that consecutive days of heavy strength training for the same muscle groups are not recommended. Why? Because we last 48 hours to recover well a specific muscular group. Then it says that train each major muscle groups 2 or 3 times per week with at least 24 hours separating training sessions for the same muscle group. It means that, for example, I want to train the chest on Monday, I must train chest until Wednesday or Thursday, so I can have those 48 hours for my muscle to recover. Another principle is that specificity. It means that distinct adaptations that take place as a result of the training program. Not everybody is going to react the same with the same exercises. Every muscle or muscle group must be trained to make gains in muscular fitness. We cannot avoid some muscles to train them. We cannot avoid them. We have to be specific and train every muscle. It also says that we must perform resistance exercises that mimic the movement of the specific sport trained. It refers to the resistance training when we have a specific athlete of a specific sport. And the design of resistance training programs for adults who want to enhance their abilities to perform activities on daily life. Now I'm going to talk about the resistance training workout components. We have 3 components. I am going to talk about the first one, that is the warm-up. The warm-up is a phase that includes 5 to 10 minutes of low to moderate intensity aerobic activities and muscular endurance activities. Lower resistance with a higher number of repetitions, such as 15 to 20 repetitions with a low weight. Then it increases the body temperature and help reduce the potential post-exercise muscle soreness. So it prepares our muscles for the next phase. Then we have the muscle conditioning phase. There is no optimal combination of sets, repetition, and exercises to promote long-term adaptations in muscular fitness in everyone. You can alter many program variables following explained to achieve desirable outcomes. In the exercise choice, we classify 2 types of exercise that are the single joint ones that are for specific body parts, and we have the multi-joint exercises that are structural. These multi-joint exercises incorporate multi-joint exercises. They select exercises that are appropriate for exercise technique, experience, and training goals. It also promotes muscle balancing across joints and between opposing muscle groups. Include exercises for the abdominal and low back musculature. It means, for example, that if I am going to train the biceps, I am going to train the triceps too. The exercise order says that large muscle group exercises are performed before smaller muscle group exercises. Then it says that multi-joint exercises are performed before single joint exercises. Why? Because this order allows you use heavier weights on the multi-joint exercises because fatigue will be less of a factor. It is better to perform the multi-joint and the heavier exercises before the small ones or single joint ones. Perform more challenging exercises earlier in the workout when your neuromuscular system is less fatigued, and exercises that will most likely contribute to enhanced muscular fitness are performed early in the training session. So the exercise order refers to difficult is first, easy is later. Then we have the number of repetitions. The number of repetitions. As the weight increases, the number of repetitions that can be performed decreases. You can never sacrifice the proper form. The technique is more important than the weight that you can carry. The training weight should be challenging enough to result in at least a modest degree of muscle fatigue during the last few repetitions of a set. It means that it doesn't matter if you are going to do sets of 8, 10, 15, or 20 repetitions. The last one must be difficult. Then talking about the number of sets. Number of sets is referring to the training volume, that is the amount of time the muscles are being exercised. For beginners, even one set can provide benefits, but for healthy adults, 2 or 4 sets for each muscle can be effective to achieve muscular fitness goals. Talking about the repetition velocity, all exercises should be controlled or moderate velocity during the lifting and the lowering phases. When you do uncontrolled jerky movements, you are not only being ineffective, but also it can result in injury. Intentionally slow velocities with a relatively light weight are not recommended. For beginners, the speed should be 2 seconds for the lifting phase and 3 seconds for the lowering phase. A longer lowering phase places more emphasis at the eccentric muscle that we talk about, which is important for the strength development, because in this phase the muscle is broken, and then it gives us the opportunity to gain muscle mass in the recovery. Then talking about the rest periods between sets and exercises. The length of the rest periods between sets and exercises influences energy recovery and training adaptation. For muscular strength, heavier weights need longer rest periods of 2 or 3 minutes. For muscular endurance, lighter weights and shortened rest periods of 30 to 60 seconds are required. Finally, the cool-down phase helps to transition the body from the higher demands of the conditioning phase to the lower levels of the physiological demands seen at rest. Shifting to moderate intensity and then low intensity aerobic and muscular endurance activity will lower the heart rate and the blood pressure gradually and safely. And this is all, and thank you very much for listening to my presentation.